What's happening, guys, and welcome to episode 38 of the Galactic Explorers Podcast. My name is Ash, and with me today, as you may have heard in our last episode, we have a new co-host. It is one of your own as well. It's one of the fans, one of the community, and it is Kings. How you doing, sir?
Hello, Ash. I'm doing very well, thank you. Very pleased and excited to be here.
We are more than happy to have you here. Jeff was supposed to join us today, but unfortunately his little boy, who you may have seen in the last episode, he made a little appearance in the video, is not entirely well today on their Day of Days in America.
But you know, it is the 4th of July, and so that excuse of a slightly sick son, how much do you believe?
Well, that is true. Although I can't blame his son from drinking because he's not even 1 year old. Oh no, he must have only just turned one this year, I believe. But yes, happy Independence Day to you all our American followers. Have fun. Don't go shooting your guns too much. But yes, enjoy yourselves today. And Jeff will hopefully your little boy gets better soon, and we'll talk to you again over the weekend. So, as you may have guessed, guys, we are recording on the 4th of July today. And the whole point of us in recruiting Kings here, and obviously increasing the episodes to 2 a week, was because of the incoming news of, well, the continuous stream of news on No Man's Sky. Funnily enough, our first episode of the week, our first dual episode of the week, I go and just double check on the Waking Titan website. Nothing new has happened.
Yeah, that's true. But I mean, in your last episode, when you were actually recording with Jeff,
yes,
that email came in, didn't it? Right at that very moment. So
so we must take into account. Yeah, we must take that into account. But so basically, we recorded last episode very late on when we usually record. Recorded it this Monday. So you have to bear with me because at the minute I'm all over the place with my dates. So it's that was the second that we recorded that date, that episode.
Yeah,
that went up today, which is the 4th, which was when we were also recording. So we've only basically had like 1 day of free time basically for something to happen. So I think normally we were going to record these episodes. So the Tuesday episode will probably get recorded over the weekend, and then Friday's episode will get recorded either on Wednesdays like today or on a Thursday. So at least we've got like 4-5 day gap between one episode, and then like another 4-day gap between the next one from now on. So, but yes, it's all it's going to be painful for a little while, guys, until we get the kinks out of it a little bit.
Well, it's good to have a plan anyway. Yeah, that's the important thing.
A schedule to aim for, at least in some degrees. But yes, so seeing that we don't have any No Man's Sky related news to talk about, we thought we'd talk about our new guest here, our new co-host, Mr. Kings Furno.
Yes, hello, present, sir.
Hello. Now, I must admit, I thought this was a YouTube name to begin with, but it actually is your actual name, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I'm guessing you have French heritage. With
well,
last
you
name?
might think that, but well, there's a couple of trains of thought on it. I think most likely, my family came from the West Country,
right? Okay.
And in Devon, there's an old name, Furno, spelt Ferno. So there's a thought that it may have been changed to make it sound a little bit more continental and exciting.
Oh, I see. Wasn't there some kind of I think there was. Oh, I don't know if I'm just barking up the wrong tree. But I'm pretty sure I saw someone who did something very similar, and he changed his name to Lord something in the early 40s or the 30s, and he gave himself some kind of Portuguese last name, but he changed his name to his Lord something or other. It just turns out it was some bloke from Stoke or something like that.
Well, I may do the same.
I know. I'd keep the name.
Well, if you go back a long way, one of Captain Cook's his second voyage around the world, the sister ship, the second ship that went with him, was captained by Tobias Furno.
Ah, same spelling?
Yeah, same spelling, and in fact there are some Furno Islands just off New Zealand, I think.
Oh, well, you look at that, you might be ruler of them.
I can't claim to know any connection, but well, we can hope, can't we?
Yeah, of course. So yes, tell us a little bit about yourself and your relationship to, I don't know, No Man's Sky, science fiction gaming, etc.
Okay, well, the No Man's Sky thing. I mean, that's why I first heard you and Jeff on your podcast, because there were a few. I think when No Man's Sky was just about starting and when it was first released, there were a few podcasts, and so I heard yours, clicked the subscribe button, and have listened ever since. But No Man's Sky, we can. I was definitely an early advocate. It was one of those games that really captured the imagination. Do you remember the time before it was released, and we were just thinking, "Wow, look! Imagine this galaxy with all of these different solar systems and planets, and it's just going to be amazing. We'll be able to go anywhere and do anything." And the idea of being in space in a ship, flying down, landing on a planet, jumping out and going around without having to wait for any sort of loading screen was very attractive.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And and anyone that's played it, I'm sure, understands that.
Yeah.
But I bought into the hype a little bit. I think pre-ordered, got the game on release, and like many, I think I was a little bit disappointed. Initially, it was fantastic, but you got that feeling that okay, this has been released a lot earlier than they really wanted to. A lot of the things that Sean Murray was saying was, especially in the early interviews, he first started talking about it a long time before release. And in that time, I think that he was talking as a developer. He's coding and he's thinking about all the things that they want to put in, and then he's talking about it openly because he hasn't presumably had a huge amount of media training and no one behind him saying, "Don't say that." It's a bit like Peter Molyneux, always promising the world, and then then the coders behind him are going, "Oh, don't say that. How are we going to do that?" So
and then he goes off and starts another company.
Yeah. Well,
that seems to be Peter Molyneux's MO, doesn't it? He seems to start one company, say something or promises something,
and then runs away
and starts another company.
Well, Sean Murray hasn't done that. He's stuck with it, and he's it's clear he's determined.
It's just hid away.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah, but I can understand him. The amount of hate. I mean, that was just appalling. Really, really appalling. But if you go forward, I played the game. I stopped playing after a few months, I think, and then but I've jumped back in every time there's been
an update.
The update. And I think I've basically restarted every time just to go through the whole thing to get the full updated experience.
Yeah.
But I think that next is probably going to be close to what they originally wanted to release.
Right, yeah.
I suspect, and it's 2 years, and I suspect Hello Games knew that they didn't have the time to make it the game that they wanted to before they ran out of money. So I mean, I've got no evidence, but that's what I suspect happened. They just had to go with the date that they'd agreed with Sony, and release it as it was and take the flak. But they've stuck with it, and next, I hope, is going to be, that full multiplayer, wonderful experience that, many people wanted from the start. I've enjoyed my time in the game. It's not, don't get me wrong, but I am looking forward to what next is going to bring. It's going to be very, very interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think from my personal viewpoint on the game is that I think they should have swapped around the whole which system it was released on, because Xbox has a very good, similar to Steam, how they have the games that are in alpha and beta,
early access, that sort of thing.
Yeah, early access. Xbox has a very good early access program where, what's the underwater one on Steam? It's like on another planet, but you're underwater. I forgot what it's called.
I don't know that one.
I will find it.
Yeah, sure.
I've got it myself. Before that was released, or before that was fully released, I think it's only just been fully released on Steam itself. That's been on the Xbox as well as an early access game. So, and obviously PlayStation doesn't have that kind of system.
No, all you've got is some sort of betas of limited. Betas for for limited duration. Not, I don't think there's ever been anything early access.
No, but Subnautica, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Subnautica it's basically like No Man's Sky. It's only set on one planet, but it's completely, almost completely underwater.
Hence the name.
Yes, and it's a survival game. You got to go around collecting elements and surviving off. You got to survive off food though and water, etc. And there's like a storyline behind it all. But that basically was released on Steam quite a long time ago now, and then it went across onto the Xboxes.
Right, but it's still available on Steam, is it?
Yeah, it's still available on Steam.
Okay.
I think it's £20 maybe. Similar price on Xbox as well.
Right.
But yeah, I personally would have thought with that kind of environment, it would have been a safer bet for No Man's Sky to be released on in that environment, because then at least they could have said, look, okay, we made promises about the game upon release that he obviously wasn't fully implemented into the game. At least we're in this Xbox program, and that you will be getting updates on a semi-regular basis. Whereas on PlayStation, it's expected to be more or less a fully fleshed out game.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then we may get updates every now and again to support it, but it seems to have gone the other way around. It seems to have forced a kind of early access environment onto PlayStation by their own fault, and it's got to be said as well, PlayStation's fault as well, because PlayStation they didn't fund anything other than the media work on No Man's Sky. They didn't fund any of the development of the game or anything like that. They were just funding the advertisements, getting the game out there. So it's basically down to them that they didn't give either any media training to Sean or have a person to talk to everyone else instead of Sean.
Yeah, it's certainly true that they publicised it as the sort of the,
because they would have had final say on any trailers that were going on, especially at E3.
Yeah, absolutely.
On their conferences. So yeah, but that was 2 years ago.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a long time.
Yeah,
isn't it?
all this time ago. But I mean, it's very different. The current direction of No Man's Sky, like, obviously we were never supposed to have multiplayer in the game. They never said that we will get a fully fleshed out multiplayer before the release of the game. it's cool to see, obviously, that we are going to be able to explore with his friends.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so.
I think it's just the daunting fact that PvP is going to be brought into the game as well.
Yes. Well, Jeff's looking forward to that.
Yes, Jeff's very looking forward to that. He got a bit heated at one point. It's safe to say.
He's loading up his pulse rifle.
Yes, he is indeed.
But
it's going to be interesting to see how it goes.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know, it's still a massive game environment. So the chances of bumping into anyone are still very, very
exactly.
Small.
This is
unless you go looking.
Jeff's excuses.
Yeah.
I mean, but obviously with like the recent the audio file that dropped, and obviously it spelled out saying that someone just joined our game. It seems like as long as you're on someone's friends list, you can automatically just go to their planet and join them straight away. You don't have to bump into them, so to speak.
Yes, possibly. I mean, I've listened to the audio file, and I've heard who was it? It was Cobra, I think, and L Plays. Oh God, that L Plays. He is so excitable. He is so excited.
He's a bundle of energy, isn't he?
He's far younger than I am. I haven't got that much energy. But I don't know. It's an audio file, and you can trick your mind into reading things into it that perhaps aren't actually there.
Oh no, I think this is the where they put it through a spectrographis.
Oh right.
So yes, so this audio track that came out,
yeah,
they put it through a spectrograph, and it came up with these runes that we saw.
Oh yes.
In phase 3, and they decoded the runes, and it said, something about someone joining.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I
game.
remember now. I did see that.
It physically says that rather than audio hearing it. Audio hearing it. English escapes me.
That's right. It's no problem. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know, right now I trust Hello Games to implement multiplayer in a way that isn't going to break the game for those people that aren't first-person shooter, you know,
driven.
Yeah, you know, it's a game that currently is very much a solo, chilled, relaxed sort of experience, and if you're playing on normal, there's so little threat that to be suddenly thrust into a fast-paced multiplayer shooter would be quite a different experience. So I think that, like you've been talking about previously, I think we are going to get a different mode, or at the very least, they're going to ensure those people that want to be alone with their exploration will be able to stay alone. And that the email that we got just as you were recording on Monday night, asking for people's favourite places and things. I actually tried to submit something yesterday, but I completed all of the stuff and tried to submit my photos, but it just gave an error. So, great.
Oh, okay.
Which is a disappointment. Yeah. But to be honest, all of the photos that I've got, the screenshots that I've got that I was going to submit, were taken in probably the very first iteration of the game, so I've got no glyph locations for them or anything.
Yeah.
And the universe is reset anyway with one of the updates. But hey, it doesn't matter.
Not even there anymore anyway.
Yeah. Well, no, that's right. It doesn't matter. But I reckon we are going to get a major reset, exactly as you were talking the other day. Everything's going to get reset. They want to add more things. Change the way that it works, and that the universe is generated. So yeah, it's going to be a reset.
Sounds good. So do you reckon we're in? Obviously, I think if we had a timeline given to us before No Man's Sky was released,
yeah.
do you reckon? Where do you reckon we would be on that timeline now, 2 years on? Do you reckon we would be in the place that they wanted us to be in, or do you reckon they've just literally put it together as they've gone along? Like I said, like multiplayer was never supposed to be a thing really in the game. We weren't even supposed to have bases, were we? Really?
Do you know, it's 2 years. I've slept a few times since then, so there's no way I can remember. I seem to recall that in one interview, Sean Murray was talking about multiplayer, but it was quite a way before the release.
Yeah,
and clearly, sorry, go on, carry on.
I think he said in that interview, like he did mention multiplayer, but he did say it won't be ready when the game is released.
Oh, okay.
So he was talking about it being as an update,
right,
post-release. So we can tick that one off.
Yeah, sure. Well, you know, it released in the state it released in. People were upset because they were expecting something different. If they'd done it as a cheaper game and then charged for each of the updates, that perhaps would have made people less upset. But as far as the timeline is concerned, I don't know. I suspect they've released things as quickly as they can. They're a small company, so you can't expect them to make big changes to a game in a week or two. You know, it's got to take.
Do you reckon months. It's taken so long because they have just stitched it together as they've gone? Basically, they haven't. It wasn't a part of their plan to make certain things. So they've gone like, okay, it's going to take us like a year to do this because we're having to do it from scratch.
I'm sure that they've had to change the engine around to facilitate multiplayer. Because if I'm sure I read somewhere that somebody had taken apart the PC code and there was just nothing in there sending data. Yeah, nothing sending back to any server or anything. So it was a pure offline single player experience. So to make it multiplayer, you've got to have some sort of sharing of location. Otherwise, you don't know where anyone else is. So,
well, this might be why it might be a whole new mode altogether.
Well, yes, absolutely. Yeah, it could be that. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So, obviously, with the fact that we haven't really got much No Man's Sky news to talk about as such, I'm going to probably focus more on general sci-fi gaming and gaming in general, I think, this episode. But I do want to talk about one thing right now is, what is your opinion on Sony's stance? Are you a PlayStation or like a PC or a crossover?
We have a PS4 and I do have a gaming PC or a PC with a graphics card, but I tend not to use it a lot. It's virtually all PlayStation 4. Right,
okay. So obviously this will apply to you then. What are your thoughts on Sony's stance?
Well, it's
almost arrogant stance on crossplay.
Yeah, sure. Go back one generation and it was Microsoft having the arrogant stance about anything and Sony saying, oh yeah, we're the good guys. So it's Sony are on top. So they don't see too much benefit in losing revenue because that as I understand it, what they're most want not to have happen is for somebody to buy a thing on another console, extra stuff, for instance, and then end up using it on their system. But I think that they will have to change their stance and make sure that crossplay is a thing.
Yeah.
Because if they don't, then I think it's one of those things that can just grow, gather momentum, and the internet is fickle, and people can just turn on a dime. We're on the cusp of the next generation. Okay, it's going to be 2 or 3 years, but if Sony don't sort it in that time, when people get around to buying their next console, then those people that jumped from Xbox to PlayStation this time round will just go back again. And then they'll lose, and they'll be second in the list again, and then they'll have to start being nice anyway. So just play together. I don't, there's gaming is the biggest medium. It's bigger than film. There's more money in gaming than film right now. So there's enough to go around. We don't need to be so greedy. Just share it. Play nicely.
I think what it is as well with them being greedy is, or this arrogance rather, is they always become arrogant when they release a new console. So if you think about it, technically, Sony was arrogant last generation because before the PS3 actually came out, they announced the PS3 and the price of it, and it was astronomical.
Oh yeah, it was very expensive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it was, and not only that, I think when they released them, do you remember how many kept failing as well? PS3s kept failing the first, I don't know how many thousands or hundreds of thousands, whatever.
The old PS3 fat. I don't recall it being. I thought it was the Xbox 360 that had the big red ring of death issue.
Yeah, I think that was like progressive as it went into its lifespan. But I remember to begin with, the PS3s, at least when the first...
They had a big failure rate, did they? Oh, okay.
Yeah, only at the beginning, like only the first units that was made. But I think that was the main thing, like it was costing such a high price, and then they weren't lasting more than a year at most. The first release units.
Yeah, but that...
And then they kind of learned from that, didn't they? And then they kind of switched over when it was the PS4 and Xbox transition period. So when PS4 was announced, it was, £100 less than the Xbox One?
Yes.
And then the Xbox One always included the bloody, what was it, that camera thing.
The Kinect, yeah.
Yeah. So that's why they kind of won this generation, because they seemed not as arrogant.
Yeah, but if you go back to the PS2, it was the dominant force.
Well, was there really another console that could compete with the PS2?
Well, it was the first was the Xbox 360 the first one? I can't remember now.
No,
there was an Xbox.
The original Xbox.
Yeah,
but that came out a few years after the PS2.
Yeah, and the PS2 sold, buckets, and
it's still the highest selling console ever.
Is it?
Yeah.
Presumably excluding portables, because I'm sure the Nintendo DS wins if you include all the iterations. But what I'm saying is, Sony were a dominant force. They built the PS3 to be this absolute monster machine. It was so complicated. It was really expensive because of the drive in it, and the fact that effectively to have backwards compatibility, they had to put a PS2 in it. Because I'm pretty certain those fat ones had a board which was effectively the PS2 the PS2 board in it. So the cost was just horrendous. But because they were so much the market leader, the arrogance, as you say, just comes through, and they wanted to do it. So people went to Microsoft with the 360, and so then come this generation, it's the other way around. Microsoft had the arrogance. They said, "Whoa, everything's going to be online, got to be online.
We're not a games console, we're a multimedia device."
Yeah, totally misread the market. Okay, if you want to do multimedia on your console, that's fine, but it's always a secondary thing. You buy it for the games, don't you?
I just had a quick look up. PlayStation 2 is the highest selling console, even surpassing the Nintendo DS.
Really? Wowzers.
Yes. PlayStation 2, 155 million. Nintendo DS is 154.2 million.
Right.
So still a million more PlayStation 2 consoles than DS consoles are sold.
Yeah.
That's not including the 3DS though. That is just the
2DS or the original DS.
Yeah.
And the iterations, DS Lite.
Yeah. If you include the 3DSs, the 3DSs was an extra 72 million. So it would have obviously. Combine them together, but but getting back to your original question, I think that we are going to see Sony shift, and
and start to allow crossplay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope so anyway. I mean,
I reckon they'll start on like their smaller games, not their smaller games, but smaller third-party games. So these kind of like
do you
battleground games. Yeah, I don't think.
Don't you think though it would be the best thing for them if they just said, "Okay, Fortnite, yep, you could do it." Wouldn't that win them back?
I think they'll give in with Fortnite, but then I think other games. So, what's that other kind of like?
There's Rocket League as well. I know that one they want to, but they've not been allowed to.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm thinking because obviously Fortnite is the in thing right now. They'll give in with that, but then I think there are other versions. What is that bloody shooting game? What came out on PlayStation?
There's only been about 500.
Well, it was a release game. It was one of these like multiplayer, like it's only multiplayer online team shooter games, whatever. I can't remember what it's called. It's like a weird spacey one. But I don't think it's got that many players anymore on PlayStation, and I reckon they'll start with games like that first because they know there's not as much of an audience as what's the other one with the hamster? What's just been released? That was a big game like last year or year before or something.
Well, you're talking to the wrong person. I never play them because I'm too old, and I.
when it comes to these games, I just completely forget what they're called.
They're all the same. Run around and shoot people. If they're close, knife them.
Yeah, hamster shooting.
Hamster?
Yeah, he's a character that they just added to a game.
Oh, right, okay.
I forgot what it's called. Everyone's going to just shouting at me now, telling me what it's called.
Yeah, probably.
But yeah, it's kind of like Fortnite. It's kind of like Fortnite. It's a closer map.
Okay.
It's not one of these big open ones. But anyway, yeah, I reckon they'll just start with the smaller games because they'll know that they're not going to be losing much money to competitors if other players do decide to go on other devices.
Well, I think it makes perfect sense to do it. If you block it, you run the risk that people get annoyed and defect entirely to the other ecosystem. Whereas if you permit it, then someone that already has your console will not feel the need to defect, and you might actually then encourage people to, I won't miss out if I buy a PlayStation, and I can then access all of these PlayStation exclusives that, the PS4 has more exclusives than the Xbox.
Yeah, it's kind of redundant now anyway. They've already stained the name.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. I mean, if they went along with it straight away as soon as like Xbox, urged them to do it, then fine, it wouldn't be a problem. But now that they've said no, or they didn't even announce anything for about a week or 2 weeks or whatever, before PlayStation actually made announcements saying that we're not doing this because such and such. Damn flies. Yeah, I'm not just waving guys at no reason. I'm just wafting around. Yeah, because it took them 2-3 weeks to actually come out and say this is why we're not doing it. They've kind of just sullied the name, so everyone's going to think, we'll just not bother with getting it on PlayStation now, even if they do still announce that they do it. I think they'll only make it. I think when the next console comes out, then PlayStation will be straight away with the whole crossover play. But you say it's 2. What do you reckon? It's 2 to 3 years before the next console actually comes out, or before they announce it?
Oh no, we'll hear before then. I suspect we'll start hearing things next year. But I look at what I'm playing on the PS4 now, and I don't feel the need for another console.
Exactly.
Except, what would I like it for? What I'd like is for my PlayStation VR to be a bit to have a better resolution.
A bit beefier.
Yes. Yeah. In the last pod, you and Jeff, you mentioned Skyrim VR. Yeah. You were talking about Skyrim, and I've got a PS VR and Skyrim VR, And that game is incredible. I know that I played it on the PS3 when it first came out, but I bought it again for the VR. And the sense of immersion, that ability to wave your hands around, you're shooting fire with one hand while you're hacking at someone with a sword with the other. That is just brilliant. But it's too grainy.
It's still limited, isn't it? It's still, because with it being a cheaper option for VR, it's still you're kind of paying for what you're getting, really, aren't you?
Yes, you are. Yeah, yes. But I think that even if you had a more expensive headset, I don't think that the standard PS4 is capable of rendering the two images at a higher resolution.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So,
but then again, you got to think: is the sales current? Obviously, VR is not a thing. What's being it hasn't pushed the PS4, so to speak, into astronomical sales, has it?
No, I don't think
it's not a console seller. So, are they really going to think, let's invest in? I don't think we'll get another version.
Yes, I do too.
I just don't think they'll push it to.
I think that when you see the PS5, currently with the PSVR, you've got this extra box which sits beside it.
I don't know. I haven't actually used one for.
All right. Well, HDMI comes out of the PS4 and goes into the breakout box. They call it a processor box, and then from there you have an HDMI that goes to your telly, so you can see what's on it, and then you've got leads that go up to your headset, your helmet. Yeah. So that processing box that takes the image which the PS4 has created, the 3D image, and it takes one of them and squishes it back into a flat image so it can go onto the television whilst it.
Right. Okay.
But it's just cables galore, and it's a horrendous thing.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
To the PS5, if that was integrated into the actual box, so that all you had was two HDMI outs, one that goes to the headset and one that goes to the television, that would make it a much better proposition.
Oh yeah, of course.
And hopefully, well, definitely you're going to get better processing and better graphical fidelity because it's going to be 4K and all of that. So it should be able to produce a much better image for an upgraded VR headset.
See, that's where I was kind of excited with the Xboxes. They did that presentation I don't think it was E3.
Oh yeah, it was a year or two. No, it might have been 2 years ago. But that thing with the Minecraft. Yeah, that was amazing, wasn't it? That augmented reality.
It was only that really small pair of glasses, weren't it?
Yeah.
And there was no wires that I can remember anyway. And even if it was only to like a little small power pack.
Yeah.
But you could see what he was seeing, and it was just.
But that's probably why you haven't seen it being released.
Yeah, possibly. That's probably coming with their next Xbox console.
But yeah, that was quite impressive. The whole augmented reality view, rather than just a block everything out and we'll give you the image.
Yeah.
But I'd love it if Elite Dangerous had a PSVR version, because that sounds like a really cool thing. That's my thing at the moment.
Yeah, I know this. You and my father, yeah.
Yes.
My dad's completely all over Elite Dangerous. He literally bought he pre-ordered the Scorpio edition of the Xbox One X.
Okay.
Just so he could play Elite Dangerous in glorious 4K blackness.
Yes, that's right. Well, you need more black pixels, don't you? That's what you need.
Yes, you do. This is mine and his running joke. So. But I see personally. I think. I mean, especially from Bethesda's announcements this year at E3 about their Starfield.
What's it called? Starfield.
Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6, saying that the general consensus was that they are next generation games. He didn't say next generation console games, which we will get onto in a minute. But it's a next generation games, and Starfield is coming before Elder Scrolls, and they didn't even give an announced year for Starfield.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. So considering that game hasn't even got an announced year yet, makes me think that game is still at least 3 years out.
Yeah, probably.
And if that's the case, because with So basically, our next topic is Todd Howard, who is what is he exactly? He's he's Bethesda Softworks director and executive producer at Bethesda. He's the guy who announced, like, at E3, he was the guy on stage talking about Fallout 76 and Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6. So he's the guy with the curly hair. And basically, Eurogamer had an interview with him the other day, and he says that what systems we put Starfield on, we're looking at what the hardware requirements are.
Okay.
So Howard said, we're pushing it, we're thinking very, very far in the future, so we're building something that will handle next generation hardware. That's what we're building on right now. That's where our mind is. But that doesn't mean it wouldn't exist on the current systems as well. So Starfield sounds to me like it's going to be Skyrim. Because if you remember, when Skyrim was originally released, it came out about a year before the PS4 and the Xbox One was released.
I don't know.
Or a year or two out. So, and that's why they ended up moving them over. Not that. Sorry. Because when was it? The PlayStation Xbox are 5 years old this year. So that would have mean they came out in 2013. And then Skyrim came out in 2011. So yeah, it was 2 years before. So I reckon Starfield will probably come out the year before, either the year before or the same year that the next consoles get released. So it'll be one of those games where it can be both played on PS4 and then PS5. It's the same with Xbox One X and Xbox One XV.
Whatever.
They're basically just trying to respell Xbox at the end of it. So it'll be in 5 years. In 15 years' time, it'll be Xbox. So yeah, so it seems to me it's going to be one of those games.
Yeah, it might well be. Might well spread the across.
That's why I'm thinking it's not going to be for another 3 years before we even hear about the next. Not hear about, but before we even get a release date or window.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at almost everything from E3. There was very little that actually had a date on it.
Yeah.
You know, everything is just we're working on this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially this year's E3 was very much
absolutely
a lack of information about release dates. I mean, the only signal that we got about a new console was Xbox's press conference when they said that they're currently deep into working on new hardware.
Yeah, but
that's all we got though.
And you'd be surprised if they weren't. So you know that's no news.
But obviously,
at all, is it?
Sony didn't mention anything like that. But we can presume they'll obviously be working on something as well.
Yeah, but they said they weren't going to give any hardware announcements at E3.
Yeah, but I remember obviously we had to wait a whole year before we even found out what the Xbox One X was going to be called, didn't they? Obviously, they announced that at E3 2016, they said like, "Oh, we're working on this new piece. It's currently called Scorpio. You'll get to see it in a year's time," which was, E3 2017. And then you had to wait till, was it November or something before it got released?
Yeah, anyway. I can't remember the date, but these hardware things they don't happen overnight. They've got to take their time.
Yeah, so even just for a console upgrade like the Xbox One X is, it's not a new console technically. It's just an upgraded version. That still took at least 2 to 3 years to make.
Yeah.
Never mind a brand new console altogether. Which, I mean, with this whole Xbox upgrade, it makes me think, how far ahead could they be looking to bringing out their next console? Because I can't imagine it being too much of a big upgrade on the One X.
Yeah, because that's already more powerful, isn't it, and able to do 4K. And you have to ask yourself, it's like the televisions. They've now announced 8K TVs.
But QLEDs and stuff.
You have to ask yourself, well, okay, are you making this because we need it or because you need it? Because if you don't make something new, you won't be able to sell us a new TV next year.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing, though. I mean, even now, people are only just getting 4K TVs still in their house.
Oh, I haven't got one yet.
Well, there you are. I'm the proud owner currently of a third monitor on my computer, which is 4K.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
I'm now not fully surrounded by 4K goodness, unfortunately.
But you're getting there.
I'm getting there. I don't think the missus will appreciate me saying, "Oh, I want another 4K monitor on my computer." I mean, we've got a 4K TV in our house,
right?
But we've only got that this year as well ourselves.
So how much content is there to go on it?
Currently on our
on your TV? Yeah.
Well, we plug in the PlayStation 4 Pro into it.
So you get your gaming 4K.
Get gaming, DVDs. We play Blu-ray DVDs because it's got a 4K DVD player in there as well, I do believe. So we can play as Blu-rays and our 4K films on it. But it's future-proofing, though, isn't it? That's the whole point.
Yes.
Of them releasing these things. It's future-proofing.
Yeah.
They're confirming their financial future by saying, "Oh, we've got this 4K TV. Now let's bring out our 4K game console. So you buy this console, buy this TV to play this console." It's not our technological future-proofing. It's theirs. It's their financial future-proofing.
Yeah, of course, because if they can sell you if they can sell you an upgrade, it's like a new phone, isn't it? If they can make you buy a new phone every couple of years, then it's more money in the bank, isn't it?
Also, my excuse was the old TV broke, so we needed a new TV.
And that would be my cue to get a 4K. If I was buying a new television to replace a broken one, then I'd be foolish not to consider
to
4K.
Get the next. Yeah, exactly. So
and the prices are coming down quite a lot now as well, I think.
Exactly, but then again, like you said, these like QLED TVs have just come out, and 8K TVs are coming out as well. I don't know anyone's got either of those at the moment. No. So I can't imagine the next. Like I said, I still think it's at least 4 years away before we get like 3 to 4 years before we get a release year of a console. And I'm thinking 5 years before it actually releases.
Oh, really? Okay, that long.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be interesting. So, do you think then that it'll still be Blu-ray disc based, or is it going to be? Are they going to strip that out and do just downloads? Because at some point we're going to go digital only.
Yeah, I still think we're at least one generation away from that.
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
What
we'll have
they
is
do
Blu-ray,
something.
Go on, sorry.
No, you carry on. It's fine.
We'll still have Blu-ray discs, but I reckon the Blu-ray disc. Whoop, nearly threw a pen away then. A Blu-ray disc. It will be also a Blu-ray player and a 4K player.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure. That's standard. I think that's.
And I think. I think the games will be printed, lasered, whatever, onto 4K discs rather than onto Blu. I think they're currently on Blu-ray discs, aren't they? Most of them.
Yes. Yeah. It's Blu-ray, and that gives about 55 gigs, something like that. I think.
Yeah, and I think.
But
all next generation games will be printed onto 4K.
I think they'll have to be, because if you've got 4K images, presumably the space required goes up.
Exactly. I mean, even now, consoles still pretty much only just go up to 1 terabyte as standard. I mean, 1 terabyte will.
Oh God, yeah, the install requirements.
1 terabyte. If you're just buying, if you're just downloading, like you said, downloadable games, not putting discs on and things, that fills up like nobody's business.
Yeah, and that's why they want you to do the sort of the PlayStation Now or the whatever it is, so that all the process, and that could be the future. The end game for a console might be a very simple box, which is really just your access into the ecosystem. You purchase the rights, and it's all streamed back down to your telly and processed elsewhere.
I don't like streaming because not everyone has great internet access.
Oh, agreed. But that could be. By endgame, I'm talking Yeah, 10, 20 years away.
I think personally, I currently prefer how Steam does it. So you buy it and it downloads onto your PC. I mean, that's obviously how it works now on the PlayStation Store and stuff. But I don't like streaming one bit. I can't even stream Twitch without lagging. Half the time. Yeah. So.
But the thing about Steam is that it's to a PC, and on a PC you can very easily have 2-3 hard disks, and so it doesn't matter if your game is 150 gigabytes.
That's why I'm thinking the next consoles will at least be 2 terabytes.
And they need to have desktop drives in them, not these laptop drives. So they need the 3.5-inch ones, not the 2.5 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that they come with 8 terabyte discs.
Yeah, but it's like with the TVs, technology gets smaller as TVs are getting thinner and things, but our TVs are getting wide, bigger screens, and they're getting thinner, like from the front of the screen to the back of the TV, and we're making phones smaller and thinner and everything. So obviously we're able to make these things smaller anyway, but we're still keeping the size, if not increasing the size of the memory that things hold. So
yeah,
it's not going to be impossible. I mean, it might be 3.5-inch now, but in 5 years' time, it might be down to 2.5-inch,
maybe,
and
we'll see.
5 terabyte hard drives.
They're finding it harder and harder to keep. Is it Moore's law? The capacity shrinking.
Something like that, yeah.
I think they're struggling to make that
they'll always find a way, though, won't they? They'll always find a way in some aspect, even if it means spreading these hard drives out throughout the console.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
Making it look like a pepperoni pizza in some way.
But you see, I don't care. A lot of people, they want their console to be really, really tiny, but I don't care. I'd rather it was as big as a PC if it was cooler and you had space for enough storage.
Plus as well, when you're streaming games, you don't own the game.
No, that's true. But you don't own the game anyway if you digitally purchase it. All you're doing is purchasing the right to play it.
True.
And in fact, I think that's the case. Even if you own the disc-based version,
obviously you don't. You own you've got a license for the disc.
You possess the disc, but you only have the rights to play it.
Yeah. But that's what I mean, though. At least I have the right to. I own this disc. They can't take the disc off me.
No. And you can sell it on.
I can play it whenever I want. I can just put it into my console and play it.
No. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah. And it's... I just don't like that idea of stream because, like I said...
Yeah, and I'm not wishing my life away, but it will be interesting to see how things progress.
Oh, yeah, sure. So, I want to add this personal one
Go for it.
onto me. Ever since my Dreamcast days of the early 2000s...
I have one of those. In fact, I've still got one.
For any of the younger people, if you never had a Dreamcast, it was a console before its time.
It was a shame. It's just it was after its time, really, in some ways. It had come out a little bit before.
It came out before the PS2.
Yeah, I think so.
It came out before the PS. It was this cross. It's basically what Nintendo is now, where Nintendo brings out a console in the middle of a generation cycle, but their technology is always a generation behind. But with the Dreamcast, they brought it out a bit too early. They kind of blew their load before PlayStation showed what they had. But it was a brilliant console, and for me personally, they brought out a game on there called Shenmue. I don't know if you ever played it.
Heard a lot about it, never played it.
It's a weird game. I'm really hoping that I'm not looking back on it with rose-tinted glasses. But it's kind of like remember the old point-and-click detective games?
Yep.
Like, where you go to a drawer, you saw a room, you go to a drawer, you open it up, and everything comes out. But it's not pointing and clicking. You're controlling this guy. You taken to the room, and obviously you'll search everything. You can open all the drawers in a room where you can see and things. And there's always something inside there. And you basically try to find who killed your father and stuff. But it's other things. You've got to like get a job to earn money to be able to feed yourself and things like that. It was very much before its time.
Sounds like a life simulator.
It kind of was, but it also was mixed with a detective game as well.
Were there a lot of quick time events in it? I'm sure I heard somebody say that.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes, yeah. So that's really, it's very much in the vein of like what's the company? The Walking Dead games.
Okay, yeah, Telltale.
Telltale games where obviously you do the quick time events and that. But it was because it's set in Japan. It's set in 1985 in Japan, I believe the year was.
Okay.
It's very kung fu-y and it's great.
So it's coming back, isn't it?
Yes. So basically, I think it was 3 years ago now at E3, the developer of Shenmue, the creator of Shenmue, not the developer, the creator announced that they were making Shenmue 3 and it was going to be supported on the crowdfunding website.
Okay, yeah.
I can't remember what it's called now.
Kickstarter, Indiegogo, one of them.
Kickstarter,
right.
Yeah. And as soon as they announced it, obviously their Kickstarter went up, and it was the fastest Kickstarter collection. I think managed to reach their goal in I think half an hour or an hour.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that must have a very fond recollection for that game. I worry for you. I hope it's what you remember.
I didn't invest in it, but basically, Shenmue 1 and 2 are being. I don't know if it's I can't remember if it's a re-release or it's a remaster. So they are being remastered for the Xbox and the PS4. So, and they're coming out as obviously one collection, and they're coming out on August the 21st.
Okay, very exciting.
And I think they're about on PlayStation 4. If you go on the store, if you got PS4 Plus, whatever it's called,
the PS Plus,
PS Plus. I think if you got a small discount of I think 10%. So it's about £21 or something like that. The two games, and they're great. They're a bit weird, but they're really good. So I know what I'm pre-ordering.
Shenmue 1 and 2. Oh yeah, pre-order.
Yes.
Yeah, you're saving a couple of quid. Yeah, it's $22.49 in the UK.
Yeah. So there you go. Make sure you check that one out. Another release, a re-release, is who remembers Red Faction?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, Red Faction was a brilliant game on PlayStation 2. It was kind of in the vein of Half-Life. You're on Mars. You're not a colonist. You're a miner on Mars, and it just goes to shit. And you've got trying to escape from Mars, and the company's trying to kill you and stuff. But basically, they made like 4 games, I believe.
Okay.
And Red Faction Guerrilla was the third one, which was set on Mars again. But it had I think almost all the environment was destructible. It's about 10 years old now, and it's just had this is the best bit. It's been remastered.
I was just looking at it on Google.
It's literally called remastered. So
I really like what they did.
Yes, and I do believe if you have the original one on Steam, you do get this one for free anyway.
Really?
So
nice.
yeah, and it's been, like I said, it's been remastered. So I think they did that with Skyrim, wasn't it? When they brought out special edition. If you had the original Skyrim and all the DLC, you got the special edition for free.
Well, that might be on the PC, yeah, but not on the PlayStation, because the remastered one was PS4, whereas the original was PS3. They just made you buy it again.
Basically, I got it for free though. I got it on the PC.
Right.
So yeah, go check that one out as well if you're interested in Red Faction.
Yeah, I'll have a look on YouTube, see what the gameplay's like.
Yes, and Kings here also suggested that double discount for PS Plus members.
Oh yeah. The new. I mean, it's a bit like Sofa World. You know, the PSN is always having a sale of one description or another.
Oh yeah.
But they've just today they started a new lot. So if you've got PS Plus, then they've got a new section of stuff in, and you get double discount if you've got PS Plus. So some things are very cheap. As you know, I do like my Elite Dangerous. So that the Commander Edition for Elite Dangerous is down to £16. So that's the base game plus Horizons plus some sort of customizable widgets.
Right. Yeah.
And it's really annoying because I only have the base one. I haven't bought Horizons yet. So
right, okay.
I can't buy the Commander Edition because I already have the base game. But if I want to buy the upgrade, it's not in the sale, so that will cost me £20.
Oh.
So I'm waiting for it to be reduced.
Yeah.
But yeah, so if anyone's interested in getting into Elite Dangerous, it's
there you go.
and you've got PS Plus, £16. You can't go wrong for that.
No, you cannot. But yeah, that's really all we've got time for this week. Just to let you all guys know then, so the schedule going forward, hopefully, is one podcast will go up on Tuesday as normal, at 7 p.m. British time, whichever. I know, it's BST currently. When it goes back an hour or whatever it is, I hate time. Oh. Let's put the clocks back forward an hour. Let's on back an hour.
Yeah, it would be better just to leave it, surely.
Yeah, because that 1 hour makes a whole massive difference. But yes, currently we are uploading one episode on Tuesday, and then we're looking at releasing like this episode on Fridays. So we kind of got like a 4-day gap between each episode, either side. So if we do get No Man's Sky news, etc. Is it raining your end? It sounds like it's raining.
At my end, no. Yes. A motorbike just went past. Perhaps it was that.
That might be what it was. I was hoping it was going to be rain. This chuffing heat is killing me right now.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
So Tuesdays and Fridays, 7 o'clock both times, an episode will be aired. Sometimes it'll be Jeff, sometimes it will be Kings, sometimes it might not even be me. Sometimes it might be a mixture of them two together, depending if my kids kill me and they bury me in the garden. But yes, thank you very much, Kings, for joining us. I'll have to call you Jeff then. Thank you very much, Kings, for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast. I've really enjoyed it.
No, thank you very much. And yes, guys, from us to you, we shall see you next time.